You know, this Saturday marking 20 years since the two planes crashed into those twin towers at the World Trade Center. In the last 20 years there, since the tragedy of 9/11, there are still unanswered questions to this very day. Anger, suspicion, all these years later. For a look back at that day and what still remains undone, we'll bring in former GOP Senator from New York, Alfonse D'Amato. Good to see you, Senator, and thanks so much for coming on. This is a sensitive topic for America in general. And it is very heightened sensitivity, if you will, for those that remember that day, that were in New York or have ties to New York in that day. I want you to take me back, if you can, if you're comfortable enough. Talk to me about what you remember on that day. Where were you?
I was at home in Long Island. I had a late morning breakfast. I switched on the TV and heard this report that an airplane had hit the tower. And as I'm watching, the next thing I know, I actually see the second plane hit. It was a shock. Nobody knew initially, but when the second plane hit, people really caught on. This was not an accident. This was an attack. And of course, we're still living with the dread, the horror, the harm, the families, the people who we know who died during that, and thereafter, the thousands who were sickened and are still dying. Well, most of them as a result of living or working to salvage, to go through the wreckage, etc., and do what they could to help those who were alive. And you still have thousands of people who are fighting all kinds of, most of it cancer. It's horrible. I had a young man who worked for me when I went to the Senate. And when I came out, we were still dear friends. Neil Levin, I'll never forget him. Beautiful, wonderful person. He was there. He was director of, I think that was the Port Authority, and was in the building working that morning early, had an early breakfast. And so I lost a very close, dear personal friend. And that tragedy is one that we should never forget. And remember, the same extremists are working today, looking to savage America, whether it's Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Shabaab in Somalia, and the Taliban. They're all committed to spreading this extremism, which is to bring harm and death to America and American citizens. So the world is still not a safe place from these extremists. And if anything, they are galvanizing in different areas, aided by Iran and others. So the world is not safe from these extremists. And I think is an old saying, eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. And we have to be vigilant because these extremists are out there. And you saw what they've done and what we've been fighting to curb them from doing in the future.
Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas. Yeah, these terror organizations are out there. You're not wrong about that. I want to take us back to that day, or rather when President Bush was president, and what he said that day. Here's that.
These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America.
Senator, that was the speech that was given that night from the Oval Office when those attacks happened, hours after the attacks happened. And we'll fast forward a bit. We launch in to find and fight Al-Qaeda that were housed by the Taliban in the Afghan region. They started to be pushed back and pushed back. Us going with complying with the Northern Alliance, we keep pushing the Taliban back, searching for Al Qaeda, specifically Osama bin Laden, and it's finally done. Afghan government's in place. Taliban is quelled. Al Qaeda's a threat no more. There is no Osama bin Laden. Here we are today. If I even had a map to show you, the Taliban now in control of 90% of Afghanistan, the exact same amount that they had 20 years ago. Your thoughts?
I think that our retreat, and understand what I'm saying, I don't use that word in a cavalier way, but it was a retreat. It was shocking. It was a display of our not understanding, a failure of intelligence on our part. We absolutely should have known that a withdrawal of the American troops, there would be no defense without us there to encourage, to strengthen, to advise the leadership. And it is just disheartening. It is disheartening. And we certainly wanted to end and get our troops out of areas, not only that area, but areas of the world, but particularly Afghanistan after 20 years. But there's a way in which you do it, and we were absolutely unprepared. So there was a failure of intelligence, and I can't believe that intelligence people did not warn the administration, did not warn certain people. But this administration was so worried about politics and being able to say on 9/11, you see, we ended this 20-year war, and they thought that the Afghan government would be able to hold out for another 6 months or a year. Yeah. And there is the president in his communication with the Afghan president telling him, well, we don't have to be truthful. We don't have to say everything. We don't have to, that's what he was doing. Really telling him to suppress the facts, lie to the people for political reasons. This was an attempt by this administration to say, you see, we ended the war, 20 years, we brought everybody back. And it was nothing but chaos, poor planning, and not listening to the concerns that were raised. Because you can't tell me that there weren't those in the intelligence community who put forth the dangers of this kind of retreat. And that's what it was. It was a retreat and surrender.
I think back, and we'll wrap on this, I know we have to go, but I think back to that moment back in the 90s. This country was so distracted with hanging chads, politics, Democrats versus Republicans, and arguing civil rights, but also the Monica Lewinsky scandal, all engulfed in this, all while Al Qaeda was here in the background lurking, and as we were not paying attention. I pray that that's not the same situation where we're following all these various storylines we think we have in the U.S. and ignoring what's happening out there with these terror organizations that still exist. And is this administration prepped to handle it? Senator Alfonse D'Amato joining us with his thoughts on 9/11. Thank you so much, sir.
Good being with you.
You too.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.